Welcome back to Warzone Workshop. So today, this is going to be a special video. You just decided that you're going to join the gas rifle side of Airsoft. Here are some things that you should know before doing that. From someone who has put over $5,000 into gas Airsoft. I have about $5,000 worth of gas magazines sitting on this table in front of me right now, and a couple on my plate carrier. By the way, this is the M3 Pro in MM14, Ukraine digital camouflage. The plate carrier is made in Ukraine by a company called Ballistica, a fantastic company, and a friend of the channel. They also make fantastic mag pouches, in case you were wondering about that. Now, back to this. This is a Wetech MSK, a gas blowback rifle that uses gas M4 magazines. It can also take the PMag style magazines, which I believe are actually cheaper right now. On eVic, they're saying this is $65 per magazine without shipping. That means that I'm standing in front of $5,000 worth of gas magazines. And this isn't even all the ones that I've acquired in my time doing it. I don't use gas guns in games. I use an AEG when I play Airsoft. I just started collecting gas rifles because I found them fascinating, the way they work mechanically. Like this Scarlight. It's so much fun to cycle that action and then work on them, clean them, maintain them. But if you're going to be getting into gas rifles, there's a lot you need to know. I'm going to try to cover some of the basics right now. If you're looking at picking up an MSK, you're going to need to know that upgrading it will be more difficult than upgrading a Scarlight. Companies that you're going to want to go with: Poseidon. You're going to want to pick up a Poseidon Zero nozzle. They have the 01, which is for M4 AR, M16, T91, 416, and ACR. I'm pretty sure that's the one that goes to your MSK. And then they have the 02, which is for your Scar H, Scarlight, and PDW. I've picked up a bunch of those. I've only picked up a few of the 01. The nozzle that's currently in here, I believe, is a stock nozzle. Let me check. Nope, it has an RA-Tech N-Pass in it. The N-Pass has been installed in this one. I have a bunch of rifles. It's hard to keep track of them. Now, the reason I would say go with a Scarlight, it takes these magazines, which are now $65 apparently. But it takes the 02 nozzle, Scar H, Scar L, fits both of them, and it's a fantastic nozzle. It can handle the magazines getting really cold and still perform. It still chug along, boom, 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 boom. So you get the most out of your magazines, considering you're spending a crap ton on them. You're going to want them to keep chugging when they start getting cold. Now, there's a bunch of other stuff that you'll need. Oil. Gas blowback lubricant. You got Airsoft Innovations. You got RC car manufacturers. Aim Top. Great stuff. You're going to need to get yourself a dropper. so you can add oil to your gun, lubricate your rubber parts on your magazine, put oil into the intake valve. You're going to need to put oil into your propane adapter if you're going to run propane. Or use green gas if you don't want to have to do that. Also, you're going to have to lubricate your guns. On the SCAR, it's pretty simple to do your lubrication. Pop out your receiver pin. Pop your pin up at the front. Take your lower off. Then you'll take your stock and slide it off. I have a video in detail about this whole process. And then you'll take out your bolt carrier. And you'll have to lubricate the crap out of that. To keep it chugging along. I recommend the SCAR because it's easy to disassemble. It's got great aftermarket parts. And all in all, it shoots really well, performs really well. It's full auto is great. I have videos on how to work on your hammer assembly and all the internal stuff. Another thing you're going to have to get ready for is, with an AEG, you can just slap a speed loader on it, chug, 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 good to go. With a gas rifle, it's different. You're going to have to take something like this if you're just starting, hook it to the top of your magazine, pour 15 rounds into this, and then load 15 rounds down into your magazine. Rinse, repeat, fill your magazine. Then you got, let's say you're running just 3 across, 1 in the gun. That's 4 magazines that you have to do that to every time you want to fill your mag. With an AEG, if you're just starting out, you can do that winding wheel, run a high cap, you got 300 rounds, run 4 of them, more than enough for the whole day. With gas, it's totally different. It's really fun, but it's also a pain in the ass. It's totally different. Now, with upgrading, you're going to want to look at cool rails like this. This is for an AEG, and it may or may not fit onto your gas rifle. Most of the time it won't. So this only going to fit on an AEG. This is a real Magpul stock. It may or may not fit on your gas rifle. It's just things to think about. Now, say you go with a SCAR Heavy for your first rifle. You're only going to be able to use gas SCAR Heavy magazines in that rifle. Which means your magazines are going to be super expensive, hard to find, and oftentimes out of stock everywhere you look. Especially right now with... Oh, shit. Hello? There's so much to getting into it, and that's before getting into green gas magazines and CO2 magazines. Because some of them will take CO2 cartridges, some of them are just green gas and propane. Had to keep the base plate off of that one so that I could tell which one it was. It's just... And then, if you want to HPA tap the magazines, that's extra work on top of it. Whereas, if you want to HPA an AEG rifle, you can drop a kit into it, run an airline out the pistol grip, and then run your 3,000 round drum magazine in the gun, running it off compressed air. Compared to running a gas gun. It's a whole different world once you get into gas. And I'm not at the stage where I use it in game. I just collect it and I enjoy doing videos and doing maintenance on them. That's what I enjoy. When I play airsoft, I like to have a good time. And for me, that doesn't mean gassing up my pistol mags and then gassing up rifle mags. For me, because I like to run a lot of magazines. So I normally just run a KWA, AEG, and I run KWA K120 magazines if I'm going to play airsoft. Or I run my PKM over here with 7,000 rounds in its Bull Gear magazine. Fantastic, by the way. More on that coming in the future on this channel. So, with anything, it's a hobby. You got to know what you're getting into. Please do your research. Don't just buy a gun, plink around with it, and then go, oh crap, that's not something I'm gonna want to do every time I go to an airsoft game, and then end up posting it online where you don't get your money back for it, and you end up not liking the sport because you have a bad experience. I would rather you go and pick up an AEG, get a couple high cap magazines, get yourself a cheap vest or something that you can carry your magazines in, and then just have fun. I don't care if you're putting a magazine in your pocket and just running a cheap starter gun, a rental, doesn't matter. Just try the sport and do your research before getting into different parts of the sport. Airsoft can become a crippling addiction if you allow it to. But have fun, stay safe, always wear eye protection when you're playing and plinking and whatnot. And I'll see you next time in the war zone.